Hello, Papa and I. We are making a video together. Together forever. And ever and ever and ever. Yes. Oh, he has a good breath. Oh, I love his breath. I love all the aroma. I love the musky aroma. Oh my gosh. He has a delicious musky aroma. And his feet, they smell good. Oh, they smell like heaven. That is the truth. Yes, it is the truth. And I got my rock here from the ocean. My ocean rock. I love it. Absolutely love it. It is gorgeous. Almost like my skin color. Very nice. And it looks like period blood got on it. But this is the actual color of the rock. This is the natural color of the rock. It has this like an iron type. I think this is iron. An iron formation on it. So it has these different, it has something here, something bluish. This is how I found the rock. It's true. It's like a heart. It's a heart for the world. That's what it is. And I want to talk about, in this video, I want to talk about anger. I was in a chat room earlier today by a ex-Jehovah's Witness woman and her boyfriend or husband. And I love these people. They're amazing. You can check them out. Bravely Taylor is her channel. And she's helping all of those people that are freeing themselves to come out of religion or cults, and particularly in this case the Jehovah's Witnesses. So I had lots and lots of encounters with Jehovah's Witnesses in my life, and I'll get to this in a moment. I just wanted to say what I saw in that chat room earlier. I saw people, and then often what the mistakes that people make when they break out of one thing, they fall into another. So that happens very easily because the mind is what Jiddu Krishnamurti is talking about. The mind is conditioned in this way. It is not just conditioned into a specific religion, but it is conditioned in a specific way of thinking and processing things. So the brain always, if it frees itself from one thing and says, oh yeah, this is BS, let me abandon this, and then they encounter something else, or they see, hey, this is like the mainstream, sucks them in, you know, the mainstream peer pressure magnetism, you know, and then they'll go, oh yeah, let me latch on to this. So they'll just add on something else. They just keep adding on and adding on without questioning things. The key component of freeing your mind is to question everything, just everything, and start completely new. Start from ground zero, you know, and evaluate everything, not just according to what someone else says, but according to what you feel in your guts, you know, the gut instinct. So the truth is universal truth, the infinite cosmos truth. You know, that's what matters. And people will weave that back into some kind of religion or some kind of philosophy, something that someone else said. Don't do it, okay? Stay out of what anyone says. It doesn't matter who says it. Even the Buddha, even Jiddu Krishnamurti, who was Gautama Buddha in another lifetime, Even Jiddu Krishnamurti, I'm listening to their tape right now. It's very soothing for me to have these tapes running, the videos by this is Jiddu Krishnamurti, and somewhere in the 70s. So those were the best discussions that he had with Dr. David Bohm and other people, Dr. David Shainberg and Dr. Parshari and Dr. Rahula. Very interesting conversations, wonderful. And he says, he keeps on pointing towards total mental liberation, which means not adding something else onto it, which means completely questioning everything you hear and see, and really dive into it and find out for yourself whether this is actually usable, whether this actually has an applicational function for yourself, particularly the things that are mental, in the mental realm, in the psychological realm. So question all thought schools that are out there, including the ones that are not coming from religion, because it's not just religion, it's any kind of thought school that is based on an ideology of some sort, or that is based on some kind of thought construction that people will cling to and not let go of. You have to question all of this and say, is it true? Is it really true that this isn't doing this or that this is doing this or that? So you have to question this and find out for yourself and really put it to the test for yourselves. That's so important. So what I saw in this chat room, again, then I saw people falling, many of them are ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. So many of them now are falling into this thought school that is really popular right now in mainstream, which can easily also trap people again. We have to be very careful about this. It can easily be made into another religion. So they fall into this thought construct of never be negative. Now, Teal Swan also made a video about this recently. Her videos are always in synchronicity with my own thoughts. That's very interesting. And she talked about this. This is a trap, that people fall into, to think that now we need to never be negative, to always be positive. What that causes is people to hold the other cheek, like Martin Luther the monk. That causes, which he never practiced, by the way. He was the opposite of it, total double standard. And I'm talking about the 1500s, somewhere during the 1500s, in the early 1500s, when they had the Medici popes. So that Martin Luther, the monk, the German monk, so the German monk that set up the evangelical religion, it's such a farce. The whole thing is so ridiculous. They thought they were better than the Catholics. They're not better. They're actually worse now. So yeah, but that doesn't justify this or that or anything, so we need to question it all. We need to question the evangelicals, the Catholics, the Muslims, any Christian type of sister religions and cults and whatever they got there, hundreds and thousands of different cults and devil worshippers, and this is just an offshoot of the Christian religion. So question these things, It's like a cult of me, I'm tough. Oh, yeah. It's not gonna go anywhere. It's just that's just like tattooing and like now. And then I saw people say in the chat room, I say now let's do the dirty partying. It's like, excuse me, that's not the purpose of quitting the Jehovah's Witnesses. And I said that in the chat room. I said the purpose of quitting religion is to think freely, to think for yourselves, to break away from any kind of peer pressure and any kind of unproductive lifestyle and dirty partying, tattooing, any of this bullshit or Satanism or whatever people equate with. This is a very immature mental state of like teenage rebellion. We need to break away from that as well. So we want to free ourselves and stand above all of this and question all of it. So that is my message for the world. I want people to understand this. And then some people said, oh, let's not get negative here and no negativity. Okay, this is a very dangerous trap, this no negativity. So it's like, people always tend to go into one extreme or another. So it's never a rational middle way forward. It's always falling either in this trap or that trap or towards this side or that side. It's always lopsided, and then it keeps faltering on its own. It collapses on its own because of this. In order to move forward, we need to do critical thinking and really evaluating things thoroughly and really all the way, and not just, oh, I'm gonna question it to this point, but I can't go further than here. Like that Dr. Rahula said, for example, in the discussion, was very interesting. He's a Buddhist monk, and then he was talking about full responsibility and compassion. So Dr. Rahula finally said, I don't like to go to extremes. So Jiddu Krishnamurti said, what? Love is not extreme. And they had a completely dumbfounded expression on his face, that Dr. Rahula, because Jiddu Krishnamurti said that. It's like, where's this mindset? Where are these people at? Where's this Dr. Rahula at? Where is he coming from? Obviously, he's coming from a very, very regimented thought school. His Buddhist religion, which is supposed to be, coming from Gautama Buddha, but Gautama Buddha didn't want religion to be made out of it. Gautama Buddha was a philosopher of love, trying to teach us compassion. In order to teach us this compassion, he had a couple of schematics, that he developed, like the Eightfold Noble Path, all listing all of these things that are, trying to be more concrete. As soon as he uses these concrete examples, which he has to use in order for people to understand it, or it stays too abstract. But as soon as he uses these more concrete examples of, like stay away from substances that are toxic, don't deal with toxic things, don't make don't put something into the world that is not beneficial for the world, like for the environment, for example. Don't eat meat, these kind of things, so people understand what he actually means, the concrete things of it. So as soon as he does that, then people will fall again into this mind trap of, now we need to make this into a regimented religion. And that's where the mistake comes in. It should never be made into a religion. That's why, first of all, Gautama Buddha is the blue God. He's the infinite cosmos. He's the embodiment of it. That doesn't mean we have to make this into a religion immediately and then make it regimented. That would go completely against what he's actually teaching. What he's teaching us is true love, which is compassion, which is love and compassion and unconditional love for all living beings, infinitely much in the entire eternal universe. Yes. That is the truth. So The rocks, they are here also to give us good energy. Those are presents from the infinite cosmos. If you go out into nature, you find yourself a nice rock that feels good, that resonates with you. That's a present from the infinite cosmos. Every friendship that is wonderful, every person you can trust is a present from the infinite cosmos. We need to practice gratitude, infinite gratitude for our animals. When you find an animal and you have this deep connection to your animal, this is a present. This love is a present from the infinite cosmos. So, and we're all interconnected, that is what matters, nothing else. Last night in a chat room, someone said, love and compassion, people already know that. That's not something exciting or new, We want to hear about alien spacecrafts. So I said, if that was something that everyone already knew, love and compassion, then how come it's not practiced, right? So obviously, blah, blah, love and compassion, yeah, we've already heard it, but then they don't practice it. It's like, that's why I keep repeating it, okay? And I will repeat it for the rest of my life, okay? Love and compassion. Love is compassion, okay? Love is unconditional love. Real love, true love is unconditional love. It doesn't make your love dependent on whether someone wears a shirt by Hugo Boss or by Tom Ford, okay? So, or any. I love any of these fashion designers. This is just an example. So don't make your love dependent upon this. Or would you do this with your animal and say, unless you wear a shirt by Tom Ford, I'm not gonna work for you. I'm not gonna do anything. This, or you have to wear a vest by Donatella Versace. So I wish she would make some vest for animals. That'd be nice. So now I love my animal, no matter what he's wearing. He's not wearing anything right now. He's naked. Yes. So it's naked love. We love the animal unconditionally because he is our baby. He's our lifeblood. He's our oneness being. We're one with our animal, okay? Unconditionally, okay? There's no Hugo Boss shirt necessary for it. And the same should apply for us humans as well. Whether I bought this shirt here at Wally's, at Walmart, or I bought it at Juicy Couture, it doesn't matter where I bought my stuff. So I usually buy my stuff on sale on the internet. So why spend more money so that I can be loved conditionally? No, thank you very much. I want to be loved unconditionally. So, and I love unconditionally. I love all living beings unconditionally. There was this Muslim guy, horrible, so sneaky, the other day, and it made me so mad that I finally blocked him because it made me so mad. His sympathizing with the other Muslim men that were promoting violence. So anyone who promotes violence, anyone who supports violence, I'm gonna block them because I think that is just absolutely obnoxious. And then he asked me, he said that what I'm saying is contradictory. And I said, no, it's not contradictory at all, because I love the beings. He says, you don't love the Muslim men. If the Muslim men are raping women, then I'm going to protect myself and I'm going to protect other beings from them. That doesn't mean I don't love their body cells, because their bodies, the tissue, I do this here. If they're in a coma, they can't hurt anyone, right? then I do this here with them and say, yes, I love your body, and your poor body cells, they suffered a lot from that lifetime of such abuse, to yourselves and others. But I pet your nice vegetable now. Now I can pet you and tell you I love this body of yours. I love those cells. Poor, even your brain cells, poor brain cells. What you've done, the rape. This is like a total rape of your own brain cells. Or a hunter goes out shooting animals. That's rape to their own brain cells, because their own brain cells, they don't want to hurt someone, they don't want to behead someone, they don't want to shoot an animal, they don't want to rape a child. Okay. Yes, Papa Dog, yes. They don't want to do any of these things. So that's what I want to point out, And I'm wearing Bright Crystal by Donatella Versace. It's absolutely gorgeous. Gorgeous perfume. Absolutely gorgeous. And also Bright Crystal Absolute is very nice too. That's fantastic. Those are fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Yes, Papa Dog, you like it too. Yes, yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes, Papa Dog is gorgeous. Yes, he is the gorgeousest. So when I see people hold the other cheek and they go into this direction of no negativity, then this is another trap. It's another thought school that is put on them. They probably don't even realize it. They think they're free thinkers or whatever, or anyone out there who's falling into this trap of oh, I better talk the way they talk, or they're not gonna like me. So, and then they're gonna all repeat what these other people say, and they go, oh, don't do negativity, we want to do all positive. That doesn't work. Okay, that's just another repeating what other people say. Yes, Favada. we have to we have to acknowledge that we feel angry sometimes. I can't just say, oh, I'm going to suppress this. No, this anger that arises, because I can't be negative ever. That's self-abuse. That's very abusive. That can cause very serious health problems in people. That can cause immune dysfunction. If the anger comes up and you repress this because you're afraid that it could have negative repercussions with your friend circles or whatever, or you're not going to be liked, or you're not going to be invited to the parties anymore, or to your new age parties or whatever, or whatever group people belong to, then that can cause real serious problems in your systems. Don't do this. Don't abuse, don't rape your own systems ever. Acknowledge that what is there. If anger comes up, or jealousy, or entitlement feelings, or a feeling of self-pity, or whatever comes up that is normally regarded as negative, or shunned, or whatever, or just not accepted, not acceptable, just acknowledge it. Don't act on it, don't act it out, but acknowledge it as that what it is. It arises. Acknowledge it and let it talk to you, let it speak to you. Communicate with it in a peaceful way, but by sitting down on the couch, or in a yoga position, or whatever, or in your bed. You sit in your bed and you turn the radio and the internet off, and you let that come up, the ghosts that come up, that are people afraid of, that they run away from. But they don't do themselves a favor if they run away from this. These things, these mind ghosts that come up, like negative thoughts, or sometimes I have unimaginable horror films play themselves out in my brain, and I have no idea where this suddenly is coming from. I have absolutely no idea. There are images and faces that are popping up that are grinning at me, and like something that people would call demons, but there are no demons. It's just ego energy. So when someone uses that name demon or ghost, then they give that thing like this. They give that thing such enormous leverage. Like it's almost like a learned helplessness to give a, to give this ghost or demon that comes up this name, ghost or demon. So that's why I don't call it that. I mean, ghost sounds a little bit better, but I call it ego energy, and that's what it is. We're bombarded with all of these things all the time. There's so much suffering in people's minds, so much because they're suppressing their negativity, that this negativity, it will come up like a volcano, and it will go up and it will go out and it will go to that person they hate, even though they're trying real hard to suppress it and repress it, and keep this bottled up, keep the lid on that pressure cooker. So then it will shoot out and it will come out in forced, like a vibration, like a very forced thought energy vibration that will then knock on that person's door, whom they hate, but they really don't want to talk to that person. They hate him, so they don't want to talk to the person, but that hate comes up, it shoots up anyway. So it will force its way up whether you like it or not. It's like you can suppress it, but it will come up with a vengeance. And it will, like, look at Elliot Rodger. It will come up in form of someone snapping and shooting, or it will come up in form of mental vibration that will go out to those people that he hates. And he will go to those girls in the college with his energy, and it will knock on their mental doors, and it will show its face. I have an anecdote to tell, which is very metaphysical and very, 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 very bizarre and very strange. And that's also, at that time, I was still an atheist at that time. That was in 2004. We had just sold the house in LA. We moved into our motorhome, and because we wanted to find out where we wanted to travel and find out where we're going to buy our next home. So instead of going to a realtor and buying something sight unseen, and so if we can look around and maybe we can find some good deals and we can get to see things. And it was very hard, these 3 years, very hard, but it was also an incredibly vital school for me and for my husband too. So we had just sold the house in Marina del Rey, LA, and we parked because we were still wrapping up the deal with the realtor. We had to park somewhere else, so we parked across the street from a very wide street from someone else next to a field. And that that was an Oriental guy that was living there, just happened to live there across the street in that house, so we didn't know who lived there or whatever. So we parked there, and that night when we parked there, I felt this face of this Oriental man. It came to me. This it came to me like a ghost, like a demon. That's what people call demon, but it's ego energy. That's what it is. He doesn't want to do anything. He's also afraid, but he is very angry that we're parked there because he doesn't want to see that old Winnebago. And so his energy builds up, right? It's like it's a tug of war. He's probably a Buddhist also. He's probably thinking, I need to suppress my negativity, right? So he keeps suppressing the negativity, and then it builds up because it comes up with the vengeance. The energy itself doesn't let anyone shut it up. So it cannot be shut up. If there's anger, there is anger. It's like an element. It's like water. It's like air pressure. So it will come up because, and he's not listening to it. He's not even doing the real Tibetan, the real meditation from Gautama Buddha, the real Vipassana. He's not even doing this. He's probably, I don't know what he's practicing, some kind of misunderstanding about Buddhism or something. Something like always repress your anger. And then it came up, I can already tell this entire story was that. So then it came up, and then his face showed itself to me while I was falling asleep. The face came to me like this. I mean, it was incredible. Older Oriental man, yeah, skinny, you know, coming at me with this grimace. And I was wondering, I thought this was just another one of those thoughts, and I had many of those. I never knew where they're coming from. The next day, there is a sign on the window that says, I called the police. So then I saw that guy then. It's exactly that guy whose face I saw, while I was falling asleep, coming at me like this. So I'm telling you, there's much more going on in our environment and in terms of energy vibration than anyone can possibly imagine. And the people that disable the discrimination ribbon in the brain, that's at the limbic system, that's there to filter out too much information, like energies and stuff like this. When we disable that, then we can see these things. And that's why I don't do any of these substances. I never did. I already saw a documentary when I was 13 that was an eye-opener for me, about a teenage girl in Germany that did LSD, and she ended up in the psychiatric ward for good, never came back out. Those people are like, they're done, they're finished, they can't function anymore in life. They have to be supervised, everything has to be done for them. They can't manage money or any of these things. So these people end up on disability. These people that do, even if they don't have a horror trip, they will eventually, the brain will be fried. They will not be functioning. That's why I say absolutely no to any kind of substance. Don't fry your brains. But what's interesting about this, just as scientific information, is the work by Dr. Hinderk Emrich at Medizinische Hochschule Hannover, Germany, where he does these tests with people, particularly people that had been doing that had long-term exposure, that had been taking drugs for many, many years, and that have disabled their brain function, and what he found out about it. And that's how he found out that we actually have this discrimination ribbon in the limbic system that's there to filter out all these other things that are out there. We're not supposed to be bombarded with that. Some people that are psychic are naturally able to see it, and some people are able to also process this information at the same time, and at the same time as they are driving a car or whatever, or flying an airplane. There were people that flew an airplane once, and that's quite a miracle, actually. Regular people that were working for the military, like the the ones that were flying bomber jets, and I think they were on their way to Vietnam flying bomber jets from the United States, and suddenly a cloud formation appears in the sky right in front of them of the blue god, the infinite cosmos, in cloud formation, so that they can recognize it as actually as a figure with a face. It formed itself into a man's face with big hands, and the hands were coming at them like this. And they said like this. He said, no, 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 with both hands. I have to hold the tablet, but with both hands like this. And when they saw that, they knew they had to turn around. So they did a loop and went back where they came from. And that was to prevent them from bombing innocent people, you know. So it's quite remarkable that they were able to see this, and they all saw it. It was not just one person. So that's what I mean. It's like energies can show themselves in, they use materials, they use clouds to form themselves in, they use so-called random, you know, the random patterning in certain fabrics and rugs and stuff like this. They use that also, and I've seen many, many, many faces already in blankets, and many people have seen this, but then they go, oh, this is just me, crazy me, you know, I see some face in there, I have a lot of fantasy. No, those are energies that will show themselves in the way, for example, a blanket is formed, you know. I don't see anything in this fitted sheet from Paul. These are Paul's laundry stands, by the way. Mine are downstairs. So this is one of his fitted sheets for his king-size bed. And sometimes I have seen stuff in his sheets, or in my own sheets, or in the way we throw something, some kind of blanket or something. So I've seen faces many, 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 many times. And sometimes they were amused. Sometimes they were like little trolls, literally, you know, those little fairy tale trolls. And they'll be looking at me while I'm singing a song from the Middle Ages or something like this a couple of years ago. That was very, very interesting. So these things do happen, you know, or they just show themselves in energy form in your mind, you know. So you can see something like this just in your mind, like a vision that is popping up in front of you, sort of more like internally. And yeah, these kind of things happen. So this guy, this Oriental guy, he was so angry, but yet he suppressed it, and then it shot up, and then his energy, his face, angry face, projected itself into my brain. So, and that was very shocking for me to see this. It was very hard. It was very hard living in a motorhome for 3 years, you know, dealing with people. And I have to say that Santa Cruz was the most arrogant place I have ever seen. Okay, so it's like, no to Santa Cruz. Okay, I will never live in Santa Cruz. What an arrogant place and community. So I'm sure not everyone in Santa Cruz is arrogant. I'm sure there's probably also a caring. Yes, I'm making video. Yes, I am. So I'm sure there are also kind-hearted people and animal rights activists in Santa Cruz as well. But that is just my impression, you know, in terms of, and again, that brings me back to the same thing. Santa Cruz, very, yeah, very so-called educated, sophisticated environment, sophisticated community. new age, we're all positive all the time, right? Like there's the positivity again. And deep down, they have all their prejudices and racism and hatred, and they don't want homeless people. They thought our motorhome, they see our motorhome, they think they're homeless people, and like I would say 90% of the people that drove by were honking at us like at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. So driving down the street. So that's how those are my like personal, direct, first-hand experiences. It's not that I got that from someone else or I read the statistics or something. No, those are our direct first-hand experiences with the motorhome, and it was very interesting from a psychological point of view, to see all of this, and then later connect the dots, to see, they think of themselves as very sophisticated, like very on top of everything, but then super arrogant suddenly. There's this total arrogance arising out of this. And arrogance is the opposite of unconditional love. So, and the suppressed anger will then shoot up and then be directed at, someone who can't defend himself, like what they think, whoever they see an old Winnebago and they go, oh, scums, we are better, something like this. These are all psychological mechanisms that are very sad, very, very, very sad, and it's just a testimonial of how these people, what happens when people are suppressing something like negativity, how that finds its way then into arrogance and into prejudice and into hate and segregationism and so on. So the very things that they thought they stand above. So it's very interesting for me to see all of this. So when there's negativity coming up of any sort or any kind of thought that people thought, oh my gosh, why am I thinking, or why is this thought happening to me? And sometimes it is energies from other people, but they also have something to say, and they also knock on the door when they feel like maybe you can help them, and they also knock on the door when they feel like you know what they're feeling, you can understand them. Sometimes they knock on someone's door where they feel like they resonate with them, but that person hasn't made it so far that they are now beyond it. They're still in it, and then this thing comes to them, and they get terrified, and they don't know how to deal with it. So many of them come to me because they are in absolute despair. They're tormented. So, and I feel for all of them. I feel also for their egos. Their egos are, they are crazy, desperate, like pressure cooker vibrations of total despair. Like, let me use an analogy. Like, what analogy could I use for this, for the ego? For example, like, there's a fire and like a big room of people, and everyone wants to get through the door to get out at the same time. That's how the ego is. The ego just wants to get out that door and will trample on someone else. So it's like the ego doesn't even see that other being underneath there, suffocating, being trampled on. So this is an analogy, and it's also a direct example, of ego. So this is happening because the ego does that. So yeah, it's that the ego is in a frenzy. The ego is in such a frenzy, matter of fact, and so tormented that it cannot see the other person. Matter of fact, it sees the other person as a threat. Like when many are hungry and they're fighting for the same food source or the same water source, something like this. So looking at it from completely above, there's no more anger, there is no more resentment, and there's no more judgment. Okay, but I'm still a living being myself. I'm not a god. I can't always look at it from above. I'm also in this existence here, and I have to protect. And when I protect, it's not about not liking that other sentient being. It's about protection. I will also protect my dog from a bear. I will protect my dog from anything that comes at us. An alien, I mean any entity that is the, that is potentially dangerous, I will protect my dog from. So, and I give my life to protect my dog and my family and my husband and myself. So yes, that is true love. You fight to the bone in terms of self-defense. Self-defense includes the defense of your loved ones because they're energetically one with you. So that's true love. True love is not saying no to negativity. That's not true love. That's self-abuse. That's denial. Okay, you have to deal with the feelings that come up. Just don't act them out on someone else. I hope that makes a lot of sense.